Welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to have a side-by-side of Rye IPA 1 versus Rye IPA 2. Now, I did do a brewing video on how I've been brewing these rye beers. Also, I put out a video of Rye 1 and of Rye 2 separately. Just to run over the grain bill real quick, because they are slightly different, and that's my fault. This is a small batch, so 1.25 gallons going into the fermenter. 2 pounds, 1 ounce of pale malt, 5.5 ounces of caramalt. Now, the 5.5 ounces is what I used in beer number 1, Rye IPA number 1. In Rye IPA 2, I used 4.2 ounces. Why is that? Like I talked about in the Rye IPA 2 video, I think they gave me less than what I asked for, and that's all I had left. So I used the rest, and it came out to be 4.2 ounces. 5.5 ounces of rye malt, then 3.7 ounces of flaked rye. 1 hour boil, 0.25 ounces of Centennial at 60, 0.28 ounces of Centennial at 5 minutes, 0.28 ounces of Chinook at 5 minutes. They both use the same for dry hopping. 3 days into fermentation, 0.25 ounces of Centennial, 0.12 ounces of Chinook. Then Rye 1 is using 0.12 ounces of Amarillo. Rye 2 is using 0.12 ounces of Sorachi Ace. Now, I did go ahead and fill these. As I do bottle directly from the fermenters, the ends usually have a little trub in them, so we could see a little change in color on beer, our Rye IPA 2. Both are bottled on 410. Beer 1 is 8.64% ABV. Beer 2 is 7.17%. Now, could that be all from the caramalt difference? Could be, but I can't say that. I wouldn't think the caramalt would add that much sugar, but I could be wrong. My guess is that maybe the Rye IPA 2 had a little less yeast in it, and it didn't eat as much. That's just my thinking. So if we look at it, like I said, I did fill them up before I started this, but the Rye IPA 2 has had a head on it. Could it be ABV? Maybe. Could it be the difference in the hop oils from Amarillo to Sorachi Ace? It could be. But really they both don't have a head, but I do have a white film on the Rye IPA 2. I guess it would be up to you if you want a head, which one you would go ahead and pick. For the color, yeah, Rye IPA 1 in my left is more of a burnt orange hazy color, where Rye IPA 2 is more... It's got a little red in there, but it's more like a pumpkin color, like good for fall, kind of cloudy, a little hazy, but not that much. I do have some floaties in there, but like I said, the bottom, because I do bottle directly out of the fermenter, I'm going to get a little bit of stuff. Let's go ahead and smell. So on this, is that caramalt really do anything to the smell and the taste that we can pick up? And what is the difference between the Amarillo and Sorachi Ace? If you're not familiar with Sorachi Ace, I would go back and watch some of my other smash beers. I do pick up a lot of dill from that hop. So smell. Yeah, more sweet citrus orange with just a hint of spice. I'm still really not picking up dill, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just the Amarillo that is going to give an orange-like smell and taste. And I don't know if it's just mixing better with the Chinook and Centennial than that Sorachi Ace is, but the Rye IPA 2 is a very toned down smell. Like you get a little bit of that citrus, generic citrus, and a little spice, where you can really pick out that sweet citrus orange in beer number 1. I mean, from the color, looking at the color and smelling them, I would have to go with beer number 1, the Rye IPA one, just because I think that orange matches the color of the beer, where there's not really a big or a defined smell in the Rye IPA 2. Let's go ahead and taste. I am picking up a little earthiness up front now. A little earthy spiciness goes back into a sweeter citrus, spiciness, bitterness in the back. It does seem like it's building, like the bitterness stays around longer. Very smooth, thicker beer. Good, though. Let's take a drink of number 2. I'm definitely picking up that dill. Drinking 1, then drinking 2, that dill really comes out. The body is a little thinner on that one. You still get that spiciness. The bitterness is there. On the bitterness level, Rye IPA 1, okay, they're both the same. 62.6 IBUs on both of them. That's weird how that came out like that. I'm guessing because of the dry hop isn't adding any IBUs. Yeah, okay, that makes sense now. Yeah, Beersmith, if you go by that, I'm not saying that doing a dry hop does add bitterness units, but some people say as long as you put the hop in there, you're going to add bitterness. But Beersmith does not calculate dry hops as bitterness. And I thought the Sorachi Ace is 13.6 alpha acids, where the Amarillo is 9.2. But I think in both of these, that spiciness kind of covers up how much bitterness you're getting. I think it does a better job in beer 2 and Rye IPA 2 than it does in Rye IPA 1. And I believe that's because there's more sugar. But that's just me, because you're dealing with a double Rye IPA at 8.64% than a higher, I guess, Rye IPA, but not a double, which I would think the beer 2 is going to have more sugar in it because the yeast didn't eat it. And that's why that it doesn't make sense, because if the higher the ABV, usually the more sugar the yeast eat, the lighter the body. And in this case, it's almost opposite, where beer 1 has a thicker body, higher ABV than beer 2, which should have more sugar. And I don't think you can say that. I do get some lemon in the aftertaste with that dill on beer 2. If you're not a Sorachi Ace fan, a dill fan, you're probably not going to like beer number 2. I think beer 1's dangerous. Yeah, there's a little earthiness in there. It's thicker, so if anything, my brain would say, okay, this is a higher ABV. I don't know if I'm saying that just because I know what the ABV is, but like a double IPA, triple IPA, you're almost getting into that syrup. And this is a thicker beer. This is a hard one to pick. I think I would have to go with the Rye IPA 1 just for now. I think it brings more to the table. You get a little bit more flavors than just the aftertaste of that dill with a little bit of lemon in there. You can taste the citrus. That floral's in there. I think that's good. I almost want to say all the profile of the taste in the first version like match the body better, like a thicker body, where in one it there's like almost nothing there. Yeah, like I don't get a lot until like the aftertaste. Like you get that spiciness, bitterness in the back, but there's really not a lot up front, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. So I think I would have to go right now with the Rye IPA 1. Now, I am going to bottle Rye IPA 6 today, so there will be at least 4 more in the series, but I think we're off to a good start. Let me know if you've made any Rye IPA beers. And if you enjoyed this video, check some more videos out over here. And until next time, happy brewing.